What if I told you one of the biggest voices in hip-hop came from pain, loss, and pure survival? This isn't just music, it's a survival guide for the streets. This is the real story of Lil Durk, beyond the glitz and glamour. Born Dirk Derrick Banks on October 19, 1992 in the heart of Chicago's South Side, his life was never a fairy tale. Imagine being 7 months old and your father, Dante Banks, is sentenced to life in prison. That was Dirk's reality. He grew up in Englewood, a neighborhood where the sound of sirens was more common than music. Dirk is often spoken about the nights the fridge was empty. "I remember having to share meals or just going to bed hungry," he once said. This wasn't just poverty, it was a constant battle for existence. While other kids were thinking about toys, Dirk was thinking about survival. This environment didn't just shape his music, it hardened his soul. He learned early on that in Englewood, you either become a victim or a leader. Dirk chose to lead, but the path he took was paved with thorns. By his early teens, Dirk realized he had a gift. Music wasn't just a hobby, it was his ticket out. But the streets don't let go easily. He started uploading tracks on MySpace and YouTube, and the streets of Chicago started vibrating. In 2011, things got serious. He founded OTF, Only the Family. It wasn't just a record label, it was a brotherhood. This was the era of the Chicago drill explosion. Alongside artists like Chief Keef and Lil Reese, Dirk was bringing the raw, unfiltered reality of Chicago to the world. His breakout mixtapes, "I'm a Hitter" and "Signed to the Streets," changed everything. What made Dirk different from the other drill rappers? It was his melodic delivery. He wasn't just rapping, he was singing his pain. He brought a soulfulness to the grit of the streets. People didn't just hear his music, they felt the cold Chicago wind and the heat of the conflict through his lyrics. But as his fame grew, so did the target on his back. In Chicago, success often comes with a heavy price. They say more money, more problems. But for Lil Durk, it was more fame, more loss. Every time Dirk took a step forward, he lost someone he loved. In 2014, his cousin and fellow artist, OTF Newski, was shot and killed just as his career was taking off. Shortly after, his manager and close friend Chino was taken. The headlines would show the numbers, but for Dirk, these were his brothers. But the biggest blow was yet to come. The loss of King Von in 2020 shook the hip-hop world to its core. Von wasn't just an artist on OTF, he was like Dirk's younger brother. And then his own brother, DThang, was killed in 2021. Most people would crumble under this much grief. How do you keep going when everyone you started with is gone? Dirk turned that agony into his fuel. He became the face of a generation that deals with PTSD every single day. He started rapping for the trench babies, for the kids who lost their fathers just like he did. This pain is what turned the rapper into a legend. For a few years, critics thought Dirk had peaked, but they were wrong. He evolved. He left his old label, went independent for a while, and then signed with Alamo Records. He started collaborating with the biggest names, Drake, Lil Baby, and J. Cole. When Drake featured him on Laugh Now, Cry Later, the world finally saw what Chicago already knew. Lil Durk was a superstar. But he didn't change his message. He dubbed himself The Voice. Why The Voice? Because he speaks for the streets that don't have a microphone. He talks about the loyalty, the betrayal, the court cases, and the struggle to stay legal while the past keeps pulling you back. His album, The Voice, and his joint project with Lil Baby, The Voice of the Heroes, solidified his spot at the top of the Billboard charts. He wasn't just a drill rapper anymore. He was a global icon. He proved that you can come from the darkest corner of Englewood and still win a Grammy. Today, Lil Durk is more than just a rapper. He's a businessman, a father, and a symbol of resilience. He's moved his family out of Chicago to escape the cycle of violence, but his heart remains with his city. He started the Neighborhood Heroes Foundation, giving back to the community that raised him, providing resources and hope to kids who are exactly where he once was.
He's also found peace in his faith and personal life, often speaking about his spiritual journey. From a kid who didn't have enough to eat to a man who provides for hundreds, Durk's journey is a testament to the human spirit. So, we go back to the original question: is Lil Durk just a rapper or the voice of a whole generation? His story tells us that no matter where you start, your past doesn't have to define your future. Durk took his scars and turned them into stars. He took his silence and turned it into an anthem. What is your favorite Lil Durk song and why? Does his music help you through tough times? Let me know in the comments. I reply to everyone. And if you want more real stories about the legends of hip-hop, make sure to hit that subscribe button and check out our other deep dives. Until next time, keep listening to The Voice.